Yo guys, what's up and welcome back to Olympus. In today's video we'll be carrying on building the Lego World Cup trophy, which has been a quite fun set to build, to be fair. I've been really quite enjoying it. This is progress so far. We've got this little football man which I think pops out the top, the big ball you put on top, and then obviously this is the trophy so far. We are on bag 7 out of 16, I think there's 60. I'm not actually sure how many bags are in total, but this is part of the Lego and Life series we've been doing here on the channel, and this one is actually a bit of a different one. The rest of them have been fairly motivational based, I'd say, but this one is literally just kind of about a film that changed my life, I feel, and that movie is one of the most fun films of all time, and as I've just said, it is one of the films that I give credit to for fundamentally changing my life. But before we get into that, I'll open up bag number 7. So let's open this up, shall we? Got 2 little bags inside. Very excited. Oh, yeah. Got some pieces already. Good start. That was, yep. Careful with these little ones. And the other one. Keep these a bit separated. Open over here. And that is all for bag 7. I'll just work out where I can put this. There, I think. Also pretty dandy. Okay, and then let's get the instruction manual open. I should remember to get it this time. Our little bookmark. Bag number 7. So let's begin. It says 2 of these, so I'll build them at the same time, and then I'll get back to my video. So yeah, this film is basically one of the things that I feel has had one of the biggest impacts on me, and essentially how I live my life now. So it's time to set the scene. It's 2020. The pandemic is in full force. Okay, lockdown is happening. Young 15-year-old Ollie is happy, and he doesn't have to do his end of year exams, being his GCSEs, and he is filled with joy that high school is over, but he's not really sure why, as he did kind of enjoy going to school. I know, what a nerd. I was a nerd in high school. Okay, and that is basically what I was thinking. He basically would fill his time then basically watching films and playing video games, the odd TV show sprinkled in there, just for a little bit of variety. Most of the films were pretty good, but nothing too life-changing. But there were 3 films in particular that would end up changing young Ollie's life, and end up turning him into the man I am today. 2 of them I have already spoken about on the channel, I am pretty sure. They are The Shawshank Redemption, which I know for certain I have spoken about because it is my favourite film I have ever seen, and that is the other title I would call it, the best film ever. The other one is Ferris Bueller's Day Off, which is probably the main competition to the one I'm going to discuss today, for the most fun and alive feeling film of all time. But the third one that we are talking about is The Wolf of Wall Street, Martin Scorsese's 2013 epic. Okay, but why is this the case? Why was this film so particularly life-changing for me? This is the case because of the fact that my personal story up to that point, and the impact that this film ended up having on me, is nothing short of incredible, and I would argue incredibly important for me. However, before I can explain why it impacted me so much and how it impacted me, I feel context is crucial for this bit, so it is probably important for me to run through kind of where I was up to back in 2020. So I was coming off year 11, as I said, I was studying for my GCSEs and generally living what I thought at the time was a happy lifestyle. Looking back now, upon reflection of this, with 6 years of hindsight and more life experience, I'm realising I wasn't really happy. I was just sort of existing and surviving, is probably the best way to put it. During high school, I did a lot of stuff that I didn't really want to do, just sort of to fit in. Okay, this included playing D&D and chess inside and D&D again inside. Generally just sort of... But essentially at the time I was just trying to be the characters from what was my favourite show at the time, The Big Bang Theory. Sort of all mixed into one. So I basically became very nerdy, kind of very introverted, and sort of obsessed with a particular girl on my school. I won't go into detail to who, just because you guys won't know her. But also because I'm not going to do that. But I don't think she knew I properly existed. Where do these go before I get giddy? There. There. Okay, and yeah, I didn't think she... I think she knew I existed in the sense of I was there. But other than that, not really. I don't imagine she felt anything more for me than that. This probably didn't feel the way I felt about her. Is probably the best way I could put it. And this would essentially grow and grow until by year 11 I was fully nerdy, fully unable to talk to girls, and fully addicted to porn, and was beginning to become a bit fat as well. I'm slimming down a bit now, but there's still a bit to recover from. But then the pandemic hit and I was stuck inside, and I no longer really had to worry about revising for my GCSEs, which was lovely. Very nice feeling indeed, because no one likes revision. No matter how nerdy you are, you hate revising. Well, I hated revising anyway, which I think was a big sign to me that I wasn't meant to be a nerd, because nerds love homework and stuff, but I didn't really want to do that. There was actually, before I carry on with my story, in it was year 8, we had a thing called Memorize, which was for languages. I actually enjoyed playing that just because it was kind of a game, which I enjoyed doing. I can't speak a word of French though, from it, but I enjoyed doing the game. But yeah, anyway, that's besides the point. So, yeah, as I said, the pandemic then hit, so no one had to worry about schoolwork or anything like that, so I'd just spend my time doing kind of my hobbies, which at the time were watching films and playing video games. And this is where they come into the story. I'm not really a big TV show guy, personally, due to the commitment they require. I only watched one during the pandemic, I remember properly, as in like a proper TV show, not like a sitcom. I had friends on it quite a lot. Brooklyn Nine-Nine as well, I think I watched for the first time, all the way through during that period, and then might have watched Modern Family as well, properly for the first time during that period, but not important. But Peaky Blinders was really, really good. That was the one I watched during that period. That was excellent, and I only actually wanted to watch that because I'd overheard the girl I liked mention it and wanted to have something to be able to talk to her about. Which, ironic that I watched it during a pandemic where I couldn't talk to her about it. But anyway, besides the point. So I basically then just decided, back to films. I essentially just decided, you know what? I'll work my way through the IMDb top 250 using the various streaming services I owned or had access to at the time. So I was working my way through it. That was when I watched the film, The Godfathers, which The Godfather 1, by the way. I don't know if I had too high expectations for it, but it just really didn't live up to what I thought it was going to be. The Godfather 2 I thought was pretty good. I enjoyed the 2. I even enjoyed Godfather 3, which as bad as that is. More than Godfather 1, but that's beside the point. But this was where I came across The Wolf of Wall Street. So back to the point of I knew nothing really about, and the first time I just sort of passively watched it. I wasn't really concentrating on it, so I didn't really connect with it at all. But I was like, you know what, I should watch it again, but give it my full attention, give it my full focus. So I did. I sat down and watched it again, and then everything shifted, and I mean everything. What I really took away from this film was that what I really wanted was Jordan Belfort's life. Not as in the drugs or the girls or the corruption or any of that stuff. What I meant by I wanted his life was I wanted to be rich, like Jordan, to be able to sort of do whatever I wanted. Which was what Jordan did essentially in that film. Well, Leonardo DiCaprio did as Jordan in that movie. That was what I wanted. It was the first time I probably had that kind of lifestyle. Like, I'd seen it, as in, and I thought it might be feasible, and like I could do it. So over the years this has developed, but I'll come back to that in a little bit. So this is when my journey and the story began to change. So this is because of the fact that from this point, that was when I started to research into sort of how to become rich. And I started discovering something called passive income, which sounded pretty awesome to me at the time, and I got pretty excited by the idea of it. It sounded really cool. I can make money just kind of not doing anything. So I was like, right, that's what I want to achieve then. And that was what my goal became. So then I started looking into something called side hustles, which again I knew nothing really about. So I was looking into different ones, and they were really new to me. But basically, the idea of making money from something that wasn't a job was completely foreign to me at this point, and I just knew I wanted it. So I would wake up and I'd just spend time on my laptop researching different ideas, things like Amazon FBAs I came across during this time. YouTube channels were already new to me, as I already was aware of a thing you could do at that time. But I'd never really considered properly doing it as like a job sort of thing. There was also drop shipping. However, at the time, I was still sold on university, as I was like, side hustles are a thing that complement your job. But then I discovered you could kind of make a living from them if you got them going well, and you didn't really need a degree for that. You just sort of need to build a foundation to build off, in terms of knowledge and in terms of knowledge, you need to kind of build a foundation of it to be able to build from. So I then started to buy a lot more books, and this is kind of where reading comes back into it. So I basically just bought a load of books on like kind of financial independence, stock market investing, stock market trading, other things. Put them in the wrong place. And essentially just started to kind of expand my knowledge base in terms of different skills I thought would be useful. So I looked into skills such as sales and marketing. I looked into various other skills, including social media work. I had social medias, but I didn't really know what you could do with them. I had no idea you can make money using an Instagram account. So I looked into kind of if I could do that. I've never been truly sold on uni, to be fair, because in year 7 of high school we had a talk from BAE who came in to talk about their apprenticeship program, and basically as soon as I heard about that, and they were like, oh, we'll pay for your degree, and I was like, yeah, but that's it, I don't need to go to uni then, I don't need to be in debt. And that was pretty much that from uni. I was pretty set then on not wanting to go to uni, but because I had no proper plan other than that, I did just sort of accept that, like, I'm probably going to have to do a degree because I don't really know what else to do. So hang on, just let me pop these on. So yeah, because I knew no real other path to me, I just sort of accepted it. But now I had another path open to me, and it seemed like this path was more me, get me closer to what I actually wanted, which was which has now been what I've been doing over the past few years. And that's what I've been working on, and I feel I've developed quite a lot. But basically last year I then realised that I was doing a lot of just sort of mental masturbation, as Tyler Durden would put it, which is what he speaks of, which is basically where you just sort of watch the content without actually acting upon it, which has resulted in the shifts I've been doing things that are more and more me, more exciting to me, and more applicable to me, and actually helping me achieve the life I truly want. And you might think, well, that's the end of the story then, but it's not. I mentioned earlier that what I took from that film developed, and the development is what really changed my view on everything in my life. Because what that development has kind of been, after a few years of kind of thinking about it and doing a bit more deeper thought work, I kind of realised that I didn't really want to be rich. I wanted to be free. I don't want to be on the Forbes list of billionaires. I want to be able to live a life I love. I want to be able to live a life where I do what I want, when I want, and not have to worry about, when the next paycheck's coming in, or worry about my bills or stuff like that. That was basically what I thought I actually wanted, and that was what I thought Jordan had, and you sort of lived a sort of free life. However, a few weeks ago I was doing some kind of deep thinking work on ChatGPT. I know there's other AIs available, Claude by Anthropic, there's Copilot, there's other ones that I'm forgetting the name. Google have Grok, I think is Google's one, or Grok might be X's one. I can't remember. There's a couple of others, as well that you could use. But basically, I was doing some deep thinking work with GPT, basically just reflecting upon my life and kind of what I truly want out of life, and that's kind of where I came up to. And I realised the actual thing that really resonated with me about The Wolf of Wall Street was that Jordan lived a life that was authentically him. And that's what I realised then about the high school me. High school me was not living a life that was authentic to him. He was just, as I said earlier, he was just sort of existing. Upon reflection of what I did in high school, I did nothing that was like the life I want to live, and nothing that was truly me. And what I'm saying about it not being me, as I just said, there was nothing that was particularly me about it. Like, other than video games and films, but right now I have a very different relationship with video games and films than I did back then. Because I used to use them to try and escape my life. But now I'm using them, they're basically to try and escape them then, because I hated my life and because I was kind of afraid to go and exist in the real world. But right now I'm using them to kind of enjoy amazing stories and enjoy these fantastic worlds that people have been able to develop. But I'm also looking at them, which is kind of what I was doing back then, but like I'm also looking at them now, as in I'm also looking at them now as in like, what can I take from this? So for example, the God of War 2018 reboot that I've spoken about on the channel is a fantastic one that I've looked at. It's an amazing game, amazing story, fantastic characters, beautiful world, and I've been looking at it going, that's all great, but is there anything I can take from this? So I've been able to kind of use Kratos as not an inspiration, but sort of a blueprint, if you will, for kind of what a really good version of masculinity might look like. And that's what I've been doing with all the games like I've been playing. So same with Red Dead 2, I've been looking at Arthur as a great character, or John as a fantastic character. Same with The Last of Us and Joel, who's a fantastic character, fantastic male role model for people. And that is kind of what I've been doing with media. I've been looking at it and going, what can I learn from this? What can I take away from this? No, I don't think I have. I've built the two of those, so they now need to go on the green side and the yellow side. I think that's... Well, that's covers there, okay. So yeah, I've been looking at them now, and I've been kind of looking at what I can actually take from these games and what I can apply to my own life to kind of better my own life. And as I was saying, other than video games and films, if I was to look at the things I did in high school in terms of the hobbies I had and the things me and my friends would do, there is nothing really I would do now. There's nothing then that I would do now. Whether it be D&D, which I don't really enjoy then, whether it's chess club, like I enjoy playing a good game of chess every now and then, but I normally just play it against the computer when I'm doing an incline walk at the gym, or I'm out in like a cafe with my mate, so we'll be playing a couple of games of chess then. But that again, it's kind of different context to chess club. Whether it be studying, sort of hiding away, escaping life, being indoors. A few things I mentioned there are being outdoors. Quite a couple of things that really not hindered me, but a couple of the things that I really didn't like about high school me were a lot indoors, because being outdoors, for me at least, is a great thing. I love being outdoors, so that's why I've got so many videos about being outdoors, and I've got the entire whole nature navigation section, because it's a video where I get to be outdoors. I get to explain to you guys why I love how great the outdoors are. I'll put this on wrong. But yeah, other than the chess, but like a very different kind of like chess would become under the video games. I'd conclude in the video games section for the fact I've got a different relationship with chess now than I did back in high school. Well, a memory that for some reason I have of high school was that I think it was during D&D club one week. Basically, we were all. It was during the summer months, and it was kind of really nice outside, and everyone else was on the field, and we were inside playing D&D. And I remember not being upset by it, but I remember being confused as to why weren't we outside in the sun, being outdoors, getting fresh air, getting sunshine, being out with the other people. Well, just kind of trapped away indoors. And it's taken me a while to realise this. Like I said, it came through a kind of deeper conversation with GPT about my high school existence. Because for years I've hated high school me, because of the fact I felt how much I felt he went away from what I want authentically. Like, I look now and I watch on Sky Sports News, I see clips of rugby, and I'm like, oh, I wish I did a bit of rugby at the start of high school, but I stopped it because none of my mates did it. And that is a common theme through high school. If the group of friends I had didn't do something, then I wouldn't do it because I just wanted to fit in. The only exception was boxing, actually, which I only stopped because of the fact that my GCSEs were coming up and I felt I had to prioritise focusing on them. But I did boxing, and no one else in my friend group did boxing, and that felt really good. That was when I was truly living myself. But that's basically the big takeaway I've got from The Wolf of Wall Street, which is live a life as authentic as you can. I think I missed a step somewhere. Oh, the yellow needs to go onto a grey square before it goes on to there, which is that one. Video as well. Come here. But yeah, I feel like the version of me I was in high school was kind of not necessarily hindered, but made basically I've been spending the last few years sort of resetting myself back to where I feel I should have been coming out of high school. So now the growth is actually happening. I realise you guys can't actually see me building because of the trophy. My apologies there, but that is what I took from The Wolf of Wall Street. Is authentic living is massive for me. It's probably massive for everyone, but it's a thing I've really realised I was lacking. And so what I'm saying is that Jordan did what he wanted, and he looked at something and thought, and would ask himself, is this what I want to do right now? And if the answer is yes, he does it. For Jordan in that film, that was sex, drugs, alcohol, flashy kind of lifestyle living, which for him, that's fantastic, but that's not really my style. Not that kind. I don't live a particularly flashy lifestyle. I don't care about flaunting on people. Which way does this go? That way. Yeah, that way. Which goes that way. There, I think. Alright. Yeah, that was how he chose to authentically live. And basically that question of, is this genuinely what I want to do, is something I've been trying to do a bit more now. And that is what I've been sort of doing over the last few, maybe weeks. It's what I've been sort of doing is since I watched The Wolf of Wall Street, but it's what I've really realised I've been doing over the last few weeks. And yeah, that's what I've been basically looking at, is this building me towards where I want to be? And if the answer is yes, then I do it, and if not, I don't do it. And thankfully, everything I've been wanting to do is something everything I've been doing is something I want to do. But I've realised that was why I realised as well. That's why I hated the high school me, because of how inauthentically I felt he lived. Because he just sort of existed. And I do get it in a small way. Obviously, you've got to, maybe not survive is the wrong word, but you've got, like high school's a negative cesspool as it is. And you've like anxiety, you have puberty, you've got big decisions about your life to kind of make. You've got pressures, and like the whole time your mind sort of being messed with through different bits to do with puberty. But there was so much that I feel I could have done differently that would have benefited not just future him, but also him then. Actually, I think would have benefited from. So let's say rugby, which is a thing I wish I'd carried on with. If he carried on, he'd probably have been more confident and been more physically capable, realised his love of kind of exercising sooner, which would have been great because I love exercising now. Genuinely, the gym is where I spend most of my time when I'm not at home. Like, obviously, the work is where I spend most time but outside of work, the places I choose to be. So I know you could technically make the argument I do choose my job, but if I was to think, where do I actually want to spend all my time? It's either the gym or Starbucks, to be honest. And like, he'd have realised that then, and he might have, and yeah, like I said, he might have been more confident, more physically capable, had more friends who might have made him a bit more confident. Because that was another issue, is that a lot of my mates in high school were very similar to me, and that's sort of how I ended up becoming kind of nerdy and introverted, was just who I hung around with a lot then. So if I'd have hung around, maybe if I'd done rugby, I'd have had other friends who were a bit more confident. So if I'd gone to one of them, been like, oh yeah, I've got a crush on this girl, they'd have been like, oh, just go talk to her, and I might have been I've been able to ask them like, oh, how would you do that effectively, and I might have been able to actually do that thing. And they might have offered a bit more useful. Not to say I'm still friends with them now, and they're great mates to have. In terms of like, we're all very good friends, and it's why we got on so well, is that we were so similar. But I think I'll put that one on already. But if I'd have done, say, rugby, or not done D&D, or not spent my time sat in a classroom playing chess or whatever, I'd have actually spent my time doing what I wanted to do instead of doing what I felt just kind of going along with whatever the crowd wanted to do. Stop being a sheep and more listen to myself. I'd have probably had a better high school experience, and overall think more positively upon high school, and possibly be further along now than I currently am. It's like I mentioned in the video earlier in the week to do with Phil from Modern Family. It's kind of a big issue he has in that show, is that he just sort of goes along with the crowd and doesn't really, not necessarily doesn't make decisions for himself, but he's very passive in that he just kind of lets things happen to him. Like I've said in that video, he gets bullied by Gil and by Mitzi, and then Jay as well pushes him around, and he very rarely just does things for himself, which is a thing I wish I'd done more of in high school. So I kind of wish I had seen Wolf of Wall Street earlier, because it might have opened my eyes a bit sooner. Obviously it's an 18, so I can't watch too much by myself, but like, it's a film that is fantastic, so I'd recommend you watch it, because it's a fantastic film. It's not one of in terms of Martin Scorsese movies, it's probably not his best work. There is better Martin Scorsese films, such as Goodfellas, Taxi Driver, Casino, I think is by Martin Scorsese. It's a great film as well. But yeah, that'd be what The Wolf of Wall Street is probably his most fun film, other than me. Would be that way, I think. Is that right? There. How does this fit in? Oh, there. Nope, no, that can't be right. And I've just popped all these off. Which way does this go? That way. Do the same there. Plop down properly. Yep. And then that way. Here's this bag. This video done. So I know that was a bit rambly towards the end, but that's basically how I feel like my life fundamentally changed. Is that it opened my eyes to what authentic living was like. It opened my eyes to this entire new world, basically, a new world of passive income, of side hustles, of freedom living, and basically living authentically. And that is what I've taken from it, is living authentically. And whilst it's not one of more, if you were to look objectively at Martin Scorsese's films as like cinematic achievements, it's probably not one up there in terms of his best. But for me personally, it is one of his best. I'd say only maybe Goodfellas is higher than it. That's because Goodfellas is incredible. But owing to the incredible and profound impact that The Wolf of Wall Street had on me, that is why it is so high up on my personal rankings, and why I thought that I should make this video, because of just how important it is to me. and hopefully you guys can watch it as well and it'll do something similar for you. But that is all for this video, so I'll just show the progress we've made. Pretty good progress, to be fair. We've made kind of these outside bits here, so I'm not sure how many bags. Like I said, I think there's 16, but there might be 17. So we've still got a good few videos left, but yeah, that is all for this one. So hopefully you've enjoyed it. It's a bit of a longer one and a bit rambly towards the end, so my apologies there, but that is all for this one. So hopefully you have enjoyed it. Give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you're new around here, and let me know your thoughts on the Wolf of Wall Street down below. But that is all for now, so I'd like to thank you for watching, and we'll see you later. Welcome to Olympus.